Hi, and welcome to Sandy's numerology. So, Vladimir Putin, oh my lord. Okay, so he is born Vladimir Vladimirovich Putin. He's got a 7, 1, and 8, and full-born names add to a 7, and his daily name adds to a 6. Born on the 7th of the 10th, 1952. Here, he's got double 7s, double 1s, double 8s, and a 7 life path. So this man is driven by 4 numbers alone. Double 1, a 6, 5 7s, and triple 8s. Who is this man? I'm going to call him a chameleon. And the reason why I say that is we don't see him behind in a private space. And when you're born with a 7 life path and then 4 more 7s, this is number 1, he comes from an alcoholic background. There's a history of twins in his family, but his 7 life path says that he was not shown the love from his parents and the love that he needed. And he was rejected by his mother. First of all, she had him with a married man. When she did marry, this man didn't take to Putin, so he was shoved off to her parents, and from her parents, he went to foster parents, which is the only parents he acknowledges. So his first 9 years of his life must have been absolutely awful, which would have created a lot of insecurities, a lot of fears. But his 7s are defiant. His 7s, because he's got no 4s and no boundaries, there's a spontaneity and a defiantness that he has in him. But that behind the scenes is this sensitive, insecure, emotional person who cries when they're happy and cries when they're sad. But it brings in this defensive, insecure, fears his own imperfections. And we never see his legs, by the way. They always, even if he's in water, you can't see his legs. There's something, he's insecure about his legs. But he's a person never to be told that you can't do something or you will never make a success of, because he will defy that completely. Now, the chameleon I'm talking about is when he puts on his clothes, which is his coat, which is the actor, and steps out, he can acclimatize to whatever situation he's put in. And his 7s will make him on the stage in life, which is fame, or infamous, which is what he is slowly becoming. But he's got luck in his numbers. And let's face it, he's worth 200 billion or more. But he's now, his next dominant number are the triple 8s, which is communication, loves a challenge, very good at motivating. But he's an extremist. It's an all or nothing situation. Brings an ego, very sporty, but violent, aggressive. loves a challenge. But this bully brings in the word dangerous. Now, 8 is the medical number. And this is about every joint in the body and every bone joint in the body, every organ joint and every muscle joint. Tie that into his life path, which is very significant because he comes from a history of heart problems, chest problems, and he definitely has that. Tie this into his Vladimir Putin, which adds to a 6. He's bright, he's fast, he's quick. He is obsessive compulsive. He's very anxious and he could get angry in a second. And like Donald Trump, he has a fear of being poisoned. So you never see him touch many things when he's being interviewed. And I wonder who cooks for him, because his fear is being poisoned. But 6 is that brain that does not stop ticking constantly. It's like a hive of bees. Now, being born in October is a 10, which also adds to a 1, shows that he's got initiative, shows his individuality. It says that I can lead. Now, with his OCD, he's on a mission regarding Ukraine. He is currently in a full personal year, which tells me that he's probably situated and living in a bunker. But there's restrictions, and just the world is restricting him in many ways. But as America tries to shut him down and the rest of the world, he goes to China. He will go to countries that sit close round, and let's face it, we're watching how Germany is not really stepping up to the plate because of gas and fuel that come from Russia, and they could never adapt fast enough to be able to get off any of those pipelines. So they've got to play it very, very safe here. But his age currently is 69 and he's got 1/6. So this is telling you that he is in the year of past, bringing something back into play, going back to bring something forward, and the OCD. And he wants Ukraine at any price, without a doubt. Now, being in this 4/6 is him mapping and planning and strategizing. Even he, with that 4, has put boundaries around himself. So he's very protected. What is a concern is the word death. And I'm going to look at that in a moment. Now, he is still in his 2021 year until October of 2022, when he goes into a 5/7. So 5 will be in his personal space, and 5 brings in discovery, disclosure, difficulties, financial difficulties, relationship difficulties, but the biggest thing is disclosure, discovery of his politicking, his power games. This is about military, foreign, but this is personal. So this is also about his family relationships. Now we know he's divorced. He's got 2 daughters with his first wife, and gosh, I know he's got twins, and he carries twin genes. And then he's got 1 or 2 others, but nobody really knows the true facts. But this 5 is going to be expose time. You know what? He doesn't actually care. The hard part is that he's turning 70, which adds to a 7. Now we take his 5 other 7s, add this one, gives him 6 7s, and he is going to be on the world stage. This is defend, protect. This is fame. This is securities and insecurities. He's going to defy anything and everything that anybody tells him what to do, how to do, not to do. Not a good year for him, because in that 5 personal is disclosure and discovery, but there is people around him who he thinks he can trust. He can't. Now 5 and 7 is money and power, security and insecurities. He is currently crossing and getting under his R in Vladimir and his V in Vladimirovich, which is his second name. Now here's something that's really interesting, because directly under his name there's a 13-4. So there is a death here that is either his or somebody of immediate bloodline to him. Not the ex-wife, because she's not bloodline. So could we look at family members? I've got his 2 daughters that he had with his wife, and one is Maria Vladimirovna, and Putina. They get given the female version of Putin. And she has got the death of a male. But the interesting thing is, still at this time of 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, is another death triangle that sits at the pinnacle of his names. And this can also be his, again. But this has got an impact on him, whoever it is. His fear is poison. At the 71, 72, 73 sort of timing, he's got double 6s and an 8. And he's already got 3 8s. This is health, the inner workings of the body, poison, gun, gas as well. But there's a health matter coming here. And this could be his death, because he's got a heart problem. So something is happening here. Is it happening to him, or is it happening within the bloodline family members? And he does have a brother, Igor, I think his name is. It could be him. But he does have a heart problem. And he's going into 71, 72, 73, very specific 3-year period of health matters and death. So getting back to that, he is going into a 5-7 in October of 2022, and so he's going to have 6 sevens. By the time he hits 2023, when he turns 71, he goes into a 6-8 year, and that is his health. Kind of ties in under his name because there's 6s and 8s there. And then when he turns 72, he's in his life path 7. So we take his 5 sevens, now in a 7. This is definitely health matters. Something is coming up here about his longevity. Now, the interesting thing is, he chops and changes rules as and when he chooses. And in 2024, which will be around the May month, is his next term as president. And he's changed the rules. It will be for a 6-year period. Now, he will be in a 6 personal, because this will be May before his birthday in 2023, in a 6-8. So that 6 still brings him past, and this could be, yes, but there's a health thing here. And I'm not seeing operations. This could be a stroke. As I say, I'm seeing this death triangle. So now that we know that he's an extremist, all or nothing, obsessive compulsive, defiant, he's on a mission regarding Ukraine. If I look at Russia, Russia is born on the 25th of December, 1991. And Russia is in a 6 personal year. Remember, Vladimir's age is 69, which adds to a 6. And their age is currently 30. So that 6 is past, going back to past, bringing back the past, bringing back something that was part of Russia, USSR's past. Their age being 30 is material. It's whether it's money or goods, etc. And we know that the plugs have been pulled on material. So whether it is the SWIFT code or whether it's the richest who've got money in countries with yachts and etc., this is shutting off all of the word valuables and asking Russia about values. But this 6 is about being focused It's about family. It's about children. And this is about action and reaction. Now, we know a lot of people have stood up, but he has threatened anybody who commits any kind of crime, 15 years minimum, or if it's, I don't suppose it's male or female necessarily, that depending on what law you break, you have to go into the army. So Russia's in detriment until December regarding their money, valuables, that they're losing a lot of business stores that are, whether it's fashion or doesn't matter, they're losing a lot, and he's losing a lot for his people. But he's got that defiance. If Starbucks goes, then he'll just give it a Russian name and it continues. He's not a man to be played with by any means, but he's totally in line with Russia. And unfortunately for Russia, as they start to hit December, their age will be a 4. And that's like going back to 2020 under COVID. Business not good. And internally, they're born on the 25th of December. 25 adds to a 7. They're going into a 7 personal from 12, 11, 10, starting October around, kind of just after Putin's birthday on the 7th of October. They're going to the 7 year, which is taking a new direction, finding a new way, defying the odds. And China's got a 7 life path. So when America's been playing games, backwards and forwards games between USA and Russia, if America tells China what to do, China could go along with Russia, which will create another huge power between Russia and China. This is not good. Now, when we look at Putin's numbers, the months that are heavier handed for him is January, October, June, July, and August. And I'm just going to say, brace yourself, because he is not going to stop. Vladimir is not in negotiation time. Russia's not in negotiation time. There's no partnerships here with the other powers, USA, UK, European Union, NATO, whatever. And let's face it, Vladimir doesn't want for anything. He's got everything. This is not going to stop. And I would say that this is going to probably continue with aggressive moments that are going to peak in April. You've got to look at the 4th of the 4th. Adds to an 8. Putin's 8s. June, July, August. July and August, massive. He's an extremist. He's a bully. And it's hard to say that he doesn't care about people. but he's not showing it. So one wonders that the people within Russia from June of this year, as Russia's in a 6-3, want to speak up. But they're in a 3 public, which is he could ban anybody from going back to the kind of COVID rules that you can't be in any gatherings. This is not good. So all I'm going to say is brace yourselves, because Vladimir Putin's on a mission. And, everybody was showing me World War date, World War I, World War II, and now World War III. The funny thing is how everybody adds them to a 68. But if you add this, nobody adds the final 6 and 8, which adds to a 5, which is war, money, power, politics, fraud, arrogance. It's militant, military. And it wants the old ways, doesn't want to change. It's about money and power and politics. That's what the 5 means. And Vladimir wants more power. There's an itch that he is needing to scratch. But I'm just going to say, something is wrong with this man's health. And we will see things, unfortunately, it could be in 2022, October to 2023, October to 2024, 2025. And even in 2026, he's in now a quadruple 8 personal. His health. Something is going to happen here. Now, I have done a video on Ukraine. But let me bring the Ukraine in now and just give a heads up between Russia and Ukraine. But I need to just highlight one more thing on Russia. Under Russia's name, they're moving under, they're 30 years of age, they're moving under their age of 32, but under the second S of Russia and the I of Russia. And there are 2 diamond 5559 triangles. And there are 2 triangles of 955. And that's war. This is, again, politics. This is power games. But it brings in huge financial cost, huge difficulties, huge import-export problems, and a huge loss of income. But depending on who wants to join with Russia, and don't underestimate that countries are not, even that belong to NATO are not supplying Russia. When it gets to money, please. So I think one of the things that will emerge out of this will be very interesting about Russia and cryptocurrency, because this is going to change the way we bank. This is going to bring in their power regarding money, which defies the powers that be of America and America's going into massive financial issues, that there needs to be such a correction. There is such a false thing happening on the Dow, the NASDAQ, the S&P. It's up here and it's going to fall down. But Ukraine is born on the 24th of August, gives them also double hit and fives, a hit and 6-8, and a 7 life path. So the detriment months for them, the 2 is February, 4 is April, 6 is June, double fives, May, July, and their double eights, that's August. Now they are in currently a 1 personal year about their independence, their individuality, their sovereignty, but their age adds to a 3. Now this is how the world is seeing them, and the people leaving, and it's about the mothers and the children. And as we get to June, 2 months, June, and I kind of pull it back into about the 26th of May, they're going into an 11 personal, and their age will be 40. So it's interesting that Russia's age is the same, because they both gained their sort of independence in 1991. So they're in line, but in detriment. But they're going into 11 personal. So we go to that May 26th. It's a gauge time, kind of 2 to 3 months before their birthday. They're going to an 11 personal, which is negotiations, which is annexure. This is partnership. This is agreements. But it's the world, and it's worldwide. It's about laws and unlawful. It's about threats. It's about instability. And this can take 6 to 12 months for negotiations. Are there going to be negotiations? It's just got to be a one-sided agreement. They either agree, or that 11-2 is watching how things are just not stable at all. Nothing is going to be stable there. Ukraine's got a really rough time ahead of them, and they're sitting under their A in Ukraine between their RAI. That's an 11-2. This is threatening their security, their fears. And it's funny that Putin's got the same life path as Ukraine. The word death here is big. The 11-2 is loss and separation. And this is 11 is the world. You know, America's got 4th of July, double head and 11s. I don't see Ukraine maintaining their independence or their individuality. One wonders if that 11-2 could also be joining NATO. And NATO is born on the 4th of August 1949. They've got a full life path. They're in their life path. So they're not in sync, not on track with Ukraine. There's nothing they can do. United Nations is born on the 24th of October. There's nothing here that they can do either. So the only thing is if Putin makes a mistake, that his military misfire and actually hit a NATO country or a United Nations country. Boys. So I'm not seeing a happy future for Ukraine. We watch how we've seen the devastation in Syria and the bombing in Syria, that it's just rubble. And Ukraine, which is a beautiful city, it's productive from fuel to foods, their farming, the world that they supply. And looking at Volodymyr Alexandrovich Zelenskyy, he was born on the 25th of January 1978, very young. And what is interesting is he's got double hidden eights, he's got double fives, double ones, triple ones. And he's in a 5-8 at the moment. So he's in an 8 and he's got triple eights. He's 44. He's in a personal 5 and he's got double fives. He's got triple fives. And he's in an incredibly difficult year. Now his health is in question here, because 44 and 45 are massive turning points in his life, regardless that he's a president, etc. He's got some health issues. He's a high-stress person, and he's got a 6 life path, which is hugely anxious. He's not grounded either. He's got a 7, so he's also defiant. But he's got 5, so he's more negotiable, but he's also about power. And he's sitting under an 11, same as Ukraine. Now, he has got at the bottom of his name, between his D and Y in Vladimir, at 44, 45, and 46, is such a critical time in his life, especially that he's going to hit his life path at 45. And he's got a death pinnacle. And he's got health issues. There's no doubt about it. This is not good. So I'm just going to say you have to brace yourselves, because the Russia story is not going to come to an end anytime soon. It could go on for another 1.5 to 2 years. I don't see Russia Russia's difficulties are until they are 41. Age of 41, actually prefer 42. So there's going to be massive changes, and the world as we know it We're watching things take place right in front of us. And this northern hemisphere, you know, you've got Brexit. I think there's countries that are going to leave the European Union. There's a big breakaway that's happening there. And then we still see a little bit of activity from North Korea. Who knows where China sits with South Korea and all the other Asian territories. Sure. And I mean, people objecting to our president, Cyril Ramaphosa, and how he's not standing up. Oh, Lordy, but he's not even standing up for us, you know. We're seeing moments of him out there in the public eye. And we are a part of BRICS. So he's got to try and stay neutral. The less said, the better, probably. And I don't think that Cyril is even in sync with his own party and what's going on. But he is in line with Vladimir, because Cyril's age also adds to a 6 currently, and he could speak to him. But Vladimir is not going to listen to anybody. No matter what anybody says, this is not going to be something that ends very, very soon. So, guys, sorry for this bad news. I think that Vladimir Putin is tempting his own fate in many ways, but he's got things in his astrology chart that Ukraine is meant to be his, inverted commas, his Russia must belong to him. He's got the King of Kings in his numbers too. Oof. But let's watch this space and let's see how this plays out. It's not going to be pretty at all. Thank you for watching Sandy's Numerology.